Where do we begin with this one? So I've been doing plus size fashion content for around 4 years now, and I have been noticing quite a few negative issues happening within the industry. So I really wanted to sit down and do a video to kind of address it and discuss it with you guys. So yeah, stay tuned if you want to hear what I have to say. Hey guys, it's Becky and welcome to my channel, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. I usually do plus size clothing hauls, beauty, lifestyle vlogs, all that kind of jazz, but today we're doing a little bit of a different video. This video I think has been like a long time coming, and I really wanted to make sure I did it justice. So I have my iPad here with lots of notes. I've gone through various articles and kind of created a bit of a timeline of things that have happened in the last 4 or so years that I think have changed the plus size industry here in the UK. And at the end, I'm going to kind of round up with my own thoughts and opinions on the situation. So yeah, it's definitely a different type of video for me. But yeah, I wanted to do a little bit of research beforehand. So the global plus size market in 2023 is worth $288 billion, which is an enormous amount of money, and that's expected to almost double in the next 10 years. However, I think a lot of you will agree it's been slim pickings, and it just keeps getting slimmer to where we can actually shop and find clothes from. It feels like brands aren't expanding their ranges, and in some cases they're actually taking away their plus size range. So I've created a bit of a timeline to kind of just discuss what's been happening maybe here in the UK, as well as globally. I probably have missed some points out. These are just points that have stuck out to me. So the first example I've got is in 2018, M&S came out with a plus size range. I'll pop some pictures on the screen. As you can probably imagine, it wasn't very successful. Wonder why that was. And by 2020, they had pulled the entire range. I think we all know why it wasn't very successful when they were producing clothes that, in my honest opinion, I feel like they were just trying to cover us up. They weren't trendy, they weren't cool, and it wasn't really integrated with the rest of M&S's style or ranges that they had. It was like a completely different range, and it was mainly, when I looked at it back then when my mum sent me the link over, it was mainly like black work trousers, black long line cardigans, and floral blouses, which I'm not going to be wearing. So yeah, by 2020, that range had quietly been discontinued. So they only gave it a go for 2 years and gave up when, let's be honest, they didn't market it and the offerings weren't great to begin with. So then moving into December 2020, and the Arcadia group did go into administration. And if you didn't know, Evans was actually part of the Arcadia group, along with Topshop, Miss Selfridge, and a few other stores. So City Chic, the Australian brand, ended up buying Evans for, I think it was £23 million, and that included the brand and the website. However, it didn't include the high street network. So that meant that one of the only places we could shop on the high street was taken away from us. I think pretty much leaving Yours Clothing to be the only place on the high street where we can actually buy clothes beyond, I think, a UK 24, 26. I do know currently Sainsbury's too go up to a 26 in some of their range. But I'm not sure of many places, maybe Sea Salt as well, in some of their stores, they go into the plus size range. But apart from that, I think that's it. So when Evans was bought by City Chic, a lot of people were really, really upset because obviously, you know, they're taking away a high street store. You can no longer try stuff on, and as well, you end up having to either pay for delivery or pay for returns, which is another current trend that's happening, which just means we're just being disadvantaged as well financially when we are buying our clothes online. But it wasn't all doom and gloom with City Chic buying Evans, because obviously they did bring a lot of their brands from Australia over, from City Chic to Avenue. There was quite a few different brands that we ended up being able to try. I did work with Evans when they were acquired by City Chic, and they were a fabulous team, and I really liked a lot of the range that they did bring over here. But obviously we'll get on to what happened next further down the line. With Arcadia going into administration, that did mean ASOS ended up buying, I think, Topshop and Miss Selfridge, which was really exciting because finally we did get plus size clothing from Topshop. However, I think the overall consensus was a little too late. It'd been years, decades even, that people had been asking Topshop to do plus size clothing. And it wasn't until ASOS finally bought them that they actually started doing that. And also within that time, Shein expanded their range to a UK 38, which is amazing. But obviously a lot of people don't shop from Shein due to various ethical reasons, but it just shows you that the brands know that money talks, and Shein know that their plus size range is incredibly popular, and the demand for the size to go higher is there, and they went with it. So they're definitely a brand that is motivated by purely sales, and it just shows you that actually there is a demand for it, and there are probably other reasons behind why brands are not expanding their ranges. So then we go back to City Chic in 2023. I think it was around like autumn time, I believe. City Chic ended up selling Evans to Yours Clothing for only £3 million. I don't think the acquisition was very successful for City Chic, especially having to ship a lot of their clothes from Australia over to here in the UK, as well as just not maybe doing as well as they wanted. I think they maybe didn't market themselves enough. They relied, I think, a lot on plus size influencers rather than maybe doing paid advertising, and therefore because of the new brands, people weren't aware of them. I think a lot of people had actually thought Evans had gone for good and therefore didn't go on their website anymore. That was a lot of the comments that I got from people out there, was they had no idea that Evans was actually still existing. So Yours Clothing ended up buying Evans for £3 million, which I know 3 million is a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things and brands, I feel like they got an excellent deal. The fact that they basically saved £20 million off the original kind of asking price says it all. And I think while I really like Yours Clothing, I do think them buying Evans does mean less competition on the plus size market. So it means more expensive clothing, as well as potentially less options. They have just recently relaunched, and I haven't gone to look yet at Evans. I feel like that's a video that I'll be doing soon, just to see how Yours Clothing have made it different to Evans. Like, what's the separation? Are they different, or are they just putting an Evans label in some Yours Clothing? So yeah, I think that was the biggest shame, was the fact that we were losing all those great Australian brands that we had just kind of got to know. And yeah, less competition and potentially less choice. But I really felt like this year, 2024, a lot of negative changes have happened, and that's where kind of a big chunk of this list has come in. So the first thing I noticed change was with H&M, the categorizing of where plus size fashion sits, and then basically removing the entire section. I noticed this at the beginning of the year when I was doing a H&M haul. I am a huge fan of H&M fashion. It's incredibly affordable. Like, this cute sweatshirt is from them. Yeah, they've got a great range, they've got great products, great prices, and I know a lot of you guys also really like them, especially in Europe, where it's actually quite hard to find plus size fashion, they're a great go-to if you are in Central Europe. So it was really concerning for me when I couldn't find the plus size section. And I know a lot of you guys as well felt very similar. So I was really delving into the website, trying to work out what had happened. And basically they are merging the plus size range with the regular range, going from an XXS, I think, all the way up to a 4XL in some products, which is great. However, they've not told anyone. They have not said a single thing. They have not PR'd this, which makes me think they don't want to talk about it. They're embarrassed to talk about it. They don't want to be a plus size fashion brand. They don't want to appear to be selling clothes to fat people. And therefore, us fat folk don't know that they've done that. So we're going onto the website going, where's the plus size clothing? Oh, it's gone. And we're leaving. We're closing the tab on our laptop or our iPad. We're not buying the clothes. And I do wonder if it's a tactic. I know a lot of guys in the comments were saying something similar, like, is it a way of H&M phasing out their plus size clothing? Which I really hope is not the case, because I loved H&M. Half of my wardrobe is probably from H&M. My favorite jeans are from there. All my sweatshirts are from there. Basics. I've got some beautiful dresses as well. And I always felt like stuff would sell out really, really quickly on H&M if it was what we were looking for. Of course, the stuff that isn't nice doesn't sell. The same with regular ranges though, and brands can't keep saying, oh well, it didn't sell very well, when they have rails and rails and rails of sale in the regular sizes. Like you can't keep using that excuse, guys, when the sale section filled with size 8s and size 6s are like down to a couple of quid. Like you can't keep using that as an excuse. So yeah, it was very disappointing that H&M have done that. It's very confusing, I think, for a lot of the consumers. And I'm hoping that H&M does come out and address it. I did reach out to H&M with them basically just saying they're planning on merging the sizes, but they didn't really say anything about, you know, a campaign coming out, or, you know, we want to put more messaging out there to make it easier for people to find. It was so difficult to find the plus size clothing because the filters didn't work. When I was looking for like the 3X, 4X clothing, it would show me maybe 100 items compared to what was actually available when you typed in plus size. So yeah, just incredibly disappointing. And I really, really hope that they fix it soon, because I know consumers and customers, they won't spend time looking for it and they will just go shop elsewhere. Like you have to make it easy for people. Yeah, and I think it's a bit of a trend going on with H&M at the moment, as Monki has recently decided to stop selling their larger sizes. The Monki fans were incredibly upset. I didn't actually know they did extended sizing. I think it's been a relatively new thing over the last couple of years. I used to shop in Monki years ago, like pre-COVID, but I wasn't aware they did plus size. But a lot of people did know, and a lot of people love shopping from it. And I think people are especially upset because Monki used to be all about empowering women. They used to be quite a body positive company. Like that was their like mission statement. And it just seems very backwards. Like, why would you take that away? And a lot of people have said, I'll leave the statement that Monki put up on Instagram in the comments, aka not making a real post about it. Again, I just think it's a total cop-out. They basically were saying that it was due to low demand, but every comment underneath that was saying how the stuff would always sell out first. You could barely get your hands on the plus size range because it was so popular, or because so little pieces were made. It just isn't adding up. And then when you look at their new rebrand that they've just done, the models are quite slim. They are quite thin, and I just feel like they are trying to get away from the body positive, body diverse world, and are trying to maybe become a bit more stylish. But yeah, there seems to be a bit of a trend at the moment with H&M, which is really disappointing, really disheartening, and all I can hope is that they, you know, listen to their consumers. Whether they will, I don't know, and do something about it. And then finally, this is a quite recent one, is about ASOS. So ASOS relaunched their insiders after 10 years. So insiders were basically like ASOS stylist, influencer type people. They would often have like an Instagram social media presence. They would style basically only ASOS clothes, I think, on their social media, but they would also influence ASOS as to what they bought, what trends were up and coming. And I think 10 years ago, there was, I think, 9 or 8 of them, Felicity Hayward being one of them. And she was the person that's actually been kind of bringing this up. So I'll leave the TikToks where she shares this down below. So they have chosen 36 new ASOS insiders, and guess how many are over a size 20? Zero. Now obviously we're just looking at them, we don't know their exact sizes, but when you do look at the lineup, it's not very diverse, especially for the fact that ASOS Curve goes up to, I think, a UK 30-32. It's really disappointing. So Felicity did call them out on TikTok in a really great video, as well as mentioning also how ASOS Curve does seem to have maybe it's just not been good recently. I think over the last couple of years, it's deteriorated both quality and the style. And we've all been talking about it. I've talked about it. You guys have talked about it in the comment section. We've all noticed the decline in options and things that we actually like on ASOS. ASOS did reply to her, so I'm going to leave both videos down below because, you know, I think it's important to share those resources, that they are planning on adding more insiders. Again, why? It's just a little too late. It's just a little too late. Like, why weren't we included? Apparently all the insiders currently work at ASOS, aka they're saving money and using their own staff as influencers. But then bears the question, why do you have no plus size workers? Anyway, so they are planning on adding more insiders in the future. We'll see about that. And they are offering to do a focus group to discuss the direction of ASOS Curve with Felicity and some others. So it's great to hear that ASOS are kind of almost aware that maybe their curve range isn't as good as it used to be, and that they are planning on doing something about it. Let's hope. So everything there has kind of been quite factual. I'm now going to go into my personal opinion. So obviously feel free to disagree if you want to. Obviously leave your comments down below. Obviously be nice. I will use the block button freely. So, but I'm definitely open to nice discussion. So I think the biggest one for me, and it's an unpleasant one, is that there's still a lot of judgment and bias around plus size and fat people. I just think the people at the top of these fashion companies, like Philip Green, when he used to own Topshop, they don't want us shopping there. They don't want fat girls, fat guys wearing their clothes. We don't fit the style, the vibe, and obviously I'm saying this from their perspective. I obviously don't agree with that, but I just think it's the unpleasant truth that no one really wants to admit. No one wants to say it, and that's the thing, they'll never say it. They will blame low sales, they will blame the pandemic, they will blame the cost to create the clothes. Honestly, I think it's all a load of bull. I honestly just think they are fat phobic. I think they are almost embarrassed about us shopping there. But you know what? They'll be more embarrassed when they lose their job because they're not performing. And like, you know, I wanted to back that up with a proof point. You know, Yours Clothing was ranked the fastest growing fashion retailer in the UK. That was beating Primark, another one that doesn't want to sell to us, as well as Next, with their sales increasing 34% in 2022-2023. And that's with all these people saying, oh, we've had such a hard time coming out of the pandemic. Oh, our sales are down, blah, blah, blah. Well, then why are Yours Clothing, why are their sales up 34%? And that was even when they, I think, increased their sales the previous year 80%. They're constantly increasing their sales because no one's catering to us. So they're getting all the money. They're getting all the money. So I hope some brands out there are listening to this because, you know, you're not doing your job. And then this one is a little bit of a trigger warning. I do think the rise in weight loss drugs like Ozempic, as well as it seemed like a lot more people going for weight loss surgery, I do think has maybe meant a possible small decrease in the audience. But there's still so many statistics out there saying that the plus size market will continue to grow. And obviously, even if you have maybe had weight loss surgery or you've used weight loss drugs, you still might be considered plus size. You don't go from a size 32 to a size 8 overnight, nor might that even happen. So there will always be a need for plus size. And also plus size technically starts at 18, a UK 18, which is 2 sizes away from the national average of a 14. So, you know, there's always going to be a need for the plus size market. As well as that, I do think the rise of Y2K and 90s fashion has also had an effect with heroin chic coming back in fashion, which is where extremely thin physiques are trendy again. It's back to when you had size 00 models. And I also do think, coming from like a marketing background, that the market is a bit fatigued around the whole body diversity, body positivity messaging that we were seeing a lot before the post-pandemic. I think those lineups where you would have different women with different body shapes and sizes isn't cutting it anymore. People aren't interested in that messaging, and there's definitely been a switch where when you look at, you know, even the photography coming out of M&S, the models are incredibly small. And to talk about M&S as well, I feel like they have been pulling back on their size 22s and 24s, mostly only available online now, if at all. I can't get any 22, 24s in store anymore. I forgot to mention them when I was talking about kind of like the timeline, but that's something I noticed last year as well, is they're definitely removing the larger end of their size offering in store, which is just so frustrating. So yeah, basically I just think brands and fashion retailers need to stop seeing body shape as a trend and provide for everybody across the board. It shouldn't just come down to money, but at the end of the day, the evidence just does show, like, financially it does make sense to provide to the plus size community. And I just find it fascinating. And I feel like if they don't listen to the financial statistics out there, the fact that plus size fashion is constantly on the rise, if they don't see maybe what Yours Clothing are doing with growing their business every year while others are shrinking, will they be the next high street casualty? Who knows? And hopefully the people at the top of these fashion retailers will maybe realise that if they want to keep their job, keep their business afloat, then maybe looking into a plus size range might not be the worst idea. We do have money to spend and we like to spend it. So yeah, that's the end of this video. Do let me know down below in the comments if I have missed any kind of important plus size moment over the last 4 years. I'm sure I have, but I tried to cover off the ones that I personally remember. But I'd also love to know your opinion as well down below as to maybe why you think this is the case. But yeah, I find it incredibly sad. I'm finding it harder and harder to find kind of places to show you guys, you know, fashion from. There's less to choose from, and yeah, that really sucks, because it just feels like you end up having to wear kind of what everyone else plus size wears. So fingers crossed this is just a glut, and hopefully some brands might even see this. So yeah, if any brands are seeing this and want to reach out to discuss your plus size range, I'm happy to do a call. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye.